Car Cost Canada provides the dealer cost, a list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. The link is in the description below.
This is the 2019 Mercedes AMG GLC 63s 4MATIC Plus, and this is the SUV you buy if you've got to trick somebody into believing it's a great replacement for that two-door sports car that you've been refusing to get rid of, even though you've got a second kid on the way. 503 horsepower, check. Launch control, of course. Production SUV lap record around the Nürburgring. Well, obviously. Let's get to it. Right, GLC 63s 4MATIC Plus. That's kind of a really long, ridiculous name, but that's what Mercedes is all about these days. What are we talking about here? Brass tacks, 503 horsepower, 516 pounds-feet of torque. That's derived from a 4-liter bi-turbo with the turbos nestled down deep in the V. And this is fundamentally the same engine you'll find in the GT series, the C63, and so on. They repackage it up depending on the application, and it's a monster. It's just beautiful. It revs really freely all the way up to 7,000 RPM. Just barely a whiff of turbo lag, small little turbos with frankly astounding response to your right foot, and this thing is fast and it sounds so good. So without further ado, make sure your seat is in an upright position. My God, this thing is astoundingly quick. You know, here's an analogy for you. Steve Jobs, like the Apple computer company Steve Jobs, his colleagues used to pejoratively refer to his sort of way of working, which was reality distortion field. And it was meant to be an insult. He just wanted people to do things that weren't possible. This is the automotive equivalent of the reality distortion field. This thing is absurd. 4,500 pounds. Comfortable 4-5 adult SUV. You can go grab the groceries, you can do whatever you want with the kids in the back, but it'll go 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.8 seconds. I've got winter tires on right now. It's below zero. There's dirt and dust and salt and grime on the road, and it hooks up harder than any car I've ever driven before. Any car. And the reason is 4MATIC Plus all-wheel drive. Of course, that's the AMG tuned version of Mercedes all-wheel drive system. This is defaulting to rear-wheel drive for better driving dynamics, but when you start to lose traction there, it'll send some torque to the front axle, and it just means with launch control engaged, you can hook up so hard. In the summertime, this car comes with Michelin PS4 high-performance tires, and if this is what it feels like with these winter tires on, I can't even imagine it. I can't even imagine this thing in the summer. And that exhaust, we've got the sport exhaust on, so I, by default, turn the car on and immediately press the loud, annoying exhaust button. And, I mean, listen to this. You could really, really piss off the neighbors with this. Delivering power in an almost completely uninterrupted way is the 9-speed MCT. Almost seamless how quickly it can get up the gears and then down the gears again. And listen to this. The sound. It's brutal. When I say seamless, I mean power output, but it is not smooth. When you have it in Sport Plus or race mode, it jerks your head back, and when you combine it with the just ridiculous cacophony out the rear end with the exhaust crackling, it is quite the experience. Now, there is a trade-off, and perhaps I can demonstrate it now as I come up to this stoplight. If you just relax things a bit and put it into comfort mode, put it into automatic mode, and this is how you're going to be driving most of the time, and you Did you see that? As I accelerated, maybe you could see my head jerk back. As you accelerated away from a standstill or about anything below 5-10 kilometers per hour, there's quite a thud, quite a jerk, to the point where on occasion, that was particularly bad, it'll actually sort of jerk you forward in your seat. And that's irritating because most of the time, no matter what the performance credentials are, you're going to be driving this thing to the grocery store or whatever, doing what I've been doing this week, downtown Toronto traffic, and that little herky-jerky sensation can get kind of irritating. But if the trade-off is fantastic performance and you know what you're getting into when you buy an AMG, then I'm all for it. Wheels and tires, we're talking about optional 21-inch center-locking blacked-out wheels that look amazing in this spec, and they're wrapped in 265 section tires up front, 295 out back. We've also got over 15-inch rotors in the front. They're vented and drilled out. We've also got 6-piston calipers. This thing slows down in a hurry with a really firm brake pedal, right down to the point where you come grinding to a halt. So this thing will turn, it'll accelerate, and it'll slow down just as well. Now, suspension, we're not dealing with a standard suspension here. It is dynamic, but it's an air suspension. And typically when you're talking about SUVs with air suspension, you're thinking, I don't know, Range Rover, where it's all about kind of wafting you through the city with a dignified kind of road presence. No, this doesn't have that. This is an AMG, and like every other AMG, it is tuned for performance. So there's a sacrifice here. Comfort is definitely sacrificed even in comfort mode, unless you're on a smooth highway or a really smooth, nice pavement. There's enough rattling that it does disrupt your experience somewhat. But again, the compromise is that you get just 10/10ths performance. This feels like a car the way it drives. It's pretty crazy. It's so flat through corners, and the quickness in which it responds to the input on the steering wheel is a very car-like, not at all like an SUV. And let me just give you an example. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm just on a straight road, and you can just kind of give it a little bit of a wiggle. And a lot of the time, if you're driving a Range Rover, for example, even the performance variants, you'll do that and you can feel the weight transferring from side to side. This GLC 63 is pretty unreal in that it just feels glued, it feels on rails. Mercedes launched the GLC at the end of the 2015 model year as a 2016 model, and this was, of course, just after the launch of the DNA platform partner in the C-Class sedan. This was not just a leap forward for Mercedes-Benz, but a big step forward for the segment and for the industry in general. I remember getting into this thing at the time and just being blown away at the interior. It was so much better than anything else on the market from Audi at the time or from BMW. And BMW is just now catching up with new X3 and new 3 Series competitors. The two big defining features of this design for me are obviously the floating center console design. They moved the gear lever up to a column-mounted shifter just to the right side of the steering wheel, and that freed up this entire center console area. This has a very expensive and very optional carbon fiber, high-gloss carbon fiber trim piece here, which I suppose suits the character of the AMG. But my favorite option is to fit this with an open-pore dark ashwood, which just looks amazing and very high-end. So this interior has always looked very premium, even in more of the base model GLC 300s that you get for less than $50,000. It looks, dare I say, maybe still industry-leading, although Audi has certainly made some serious leaps and bounds with their small SUVs lately as well. Now, the other second feature is the floating sort of dashboard design with the circular HVAC vents. I just think it looks fantastic, but again, you'll make that decision on your own. Now, what hasn't changed that is perhaps starting to look a little bit older 4 years on, that's the infotainment screen. Comes with 7 inches. You can option it up to 8.2 full color. Looks pretty good, not industry leading, but reasonably sharp given that it's 4 years old and basically hasn't changed. Now, the one thing that bothers me is there's anywhere from 1 inch to 1.5 inches of black wasted space around the edge of the viewable screen. And as we all know, cell phones, tablets, televisions, we've all gone to this sort of a very narrow, frameless looking design. It just looks better, and every time I get into one of these Mercedes-Benz with this era of infotainment, it kind of bothers me. Likewise, it's the old analog dashboard with mechanical needles. Now, it looks really sharp. I like it, but I know there's some sort of tech-focused people out there who would wish that they had the new double screen layout that you can get in the E-Class and the S-Class and now the A-Class, but you have to figure they'll be updating this at least perhaps in the next year or two. When you buy the GLC 63, you do get standard Napa leather, and there's a variety of different colors you can get if you want to pay a little bit extra money. But I quite like the base configuration, which is sort of a two-tone and off-white Alcantara trim with the black leather and the contrast white stitching. And you get the leather all the way on the top of the door panel, the top of the dashboard, and you even get it sort of in the door card area with a nice little touch of, a very small touch of Alcantara here, but just the details in this car are fantastic. And the seats, by the way, very comfortable, tons of adjustability. Standard heated seats, however, you've got to pay more if you want the full climate control seats, which gives you, I believe, three-way adjustable cooling and ventilation as well as heated seats. If you've ever bought a Mercedes-Benz before, or any German car for that matter, Audi, BMW, you're going to be very familiar with the lengthy list of available options, many of which I think should probably be included for a vehicle like this that can very easily get over $100,000. So what am I talking about here? Well, this car comes with a $5,800 premium package that includes things like an upgraded Burmester audio system, very nice system, I have it in my personal car. Also a 360 camera, park assist, so it'll auto parallel park for you. Also the kick activated tailgate, the integrated garage door opener, the AMG Track Pace app, which is kind of a cool thing. It's going to give you sort of performance readouts from your drive on your cell phone, which is kind of neat if you're into that thing. Also, it's going to give you a household power outlet and keyless entry system, as well as a powered lift gate. So a couple of those things you expect to see in a car costing this much, but nonetheless, I would be willing to bet 95%, if not more, of these cars leaving the showroom will be equipped with that, absolutely. Cargo capacity is average at 500 liters behind the second row and just under 1,600 liters with the seat folded flat. Fuel economy is, well, if you gotta ask, you're probably not the target customer, but actually pretty decent all things considered. Now, I did see as high as 27 liters per 100K in stop-go traffic, but as low as 10.5 per 100K on the highway for an average of around 17 liters per 100 over a 500K cycle. All right, good news. The GLC 63 has the exact same interior space back here as the standard GLC 300, and it's just as comfortable and it looks just as high quality back here as it does from behind the driver's wheel. So what are we talking about here? Well, I'm 6'2" tall, and look at the room I have. I've got lots of room for my head and my shoulders. I've got, I want to say, 3 inches before my knees touch the seat back, and this is my driver's position, and as you know, I got rather long legs, so this is pretty impressive room. Likewise, lots of room for my boots underneath the seat itself. We have sunshades here, or privacy shades. You've also got heated seats and really nice finishings here. The same sort of two-tone off-white Alcantara with black Napa leather that you'll find up front along here on the door card, and the speaker grills from the upgraded Burmester audio system are fantastic. Also, a really nice climate control system down here on the back of the center armrest, and like you'll find everywhere else, a fold-down armrest. Kind of flimsy-looking cup holders, but that's what you get. Now, noteworthy, you cannot slide this seat fore and aft, and you can't recline the seat back, but the spec position itself is comfortable, I'd have to think, for reasonable distances. And even with this giant, beautiful pano roof that lets lots of light in, I'm not hitting my head at all. So overall, very spacious, very practical place. This is not just an absolute rocket, but it's a practical vehicle as well. So 4MATIC Plus, big tires out the back. We've got an electronic limited slip differential as well, helping to put that power down, and an air suspension that is tuned for outright performance. And this thing, for a vehicle of this size, is easy to drive. It's so flat around corners, and the performance is frankly astounding. It's the type of car that will just get you into trouble so quickly. You got to be really, really careful with it. Just the power, the speed at which it accelerates into triple-digit speeds, and that sound which is going to alert all the authorities of your presence. There's no sneaking around. You can't be stealth. Even when you turn the exhaust into quiet mode, it's not quiet. It's still really, really loud and is going to bother all of your neighbors. Now, you can decide if that's a problem for you. I think I'd probably be okay with it. Technically, the GLC 63s shares a platform with the uber pedestrian GLC 300, but if you haven't already gathered, they're basically philosophically polar opposites. The normal GLC can be had for just under 50 grand here in Canada, but this beast starts at a lofty $90,000. Some must-have additions include the premium and intelligent drive packages, which will make this feel like a proper Mercedes. Enthusiasts won't want to miss the AMG driver's pack, which raises your top speed, gives you access to larger wheels, and a flat-bottom steering wheel that I wouldn't go without. If you're allergic to chrome, opt for the AMG night package and perhaps a premium rear seat package and trailer hitch to tow your Sea-Doo. All of this pushed my demonstration model to nearly $110,000. What I like about the GLC 63s and what can be said about AMG models in general is that they take what is a nicer than average but perhaps not particularly thrilling car and turn it into a remarkably focused enthusiast machine. First you hear it, then you see it, then you drive it, and it continues to create a sense of occasion each and every time you jump behind the wheel. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, it's also very luxurious and it'll carry passengers comfortably and there's room for the family dog. But here's the key, it's fun. Fun, fun, fun. And for somebody with $110,000 looking to buy a car like this, that's an incredibly important factor. So would I buy this car? Well, do I have to answer that at this point? Of course I would.
Car Cost Canada provides the dealer cost, a list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. The link is in the description below.